Good morning, everyone, on this beautiful Saturday, and welcome to our very special Menti Guru panel discussion on future ready workforce. So, in a world where AI is changing how we work, from hiring and onboarding to mentorship and engagement, HR leaders are at a critical inflection point. We're not just building systems anymore, we're shaping skills, culture, and careers for a world that looks nothing like the one we trained for. And today, we are joined by four incredible leaders who have done exactly that: built people, systems for scale, and impact. So, let me introduce and call them on stage for you all. So, I welcome our panelists. Mr. Rajesh Patel, he's a strategic hiring leader passionate about tech driven talent solution. Now, let me introduce Ashutosh Gupta. He is a people first HR leader committed to coaching and continuous learning. Now, let me bring in Ms. Anisha Jayarajan, a culture and leadership builder with deep insight into capability development. And finally, our fourth panelist, Ms. Rashmi Utnal, a champion of inclusion, hybrid mentorship, and belonging at work. Welcome, everyone, today to this exciting session, and I'm looking forward to an insightful discussion for everyone.
Thank you, Neha. Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you, Neha.
uh, once I would like to start from one, like from our mentorship and mindset shift. Once you have hired great talent, right, how do you help them to grow? That's where mentorship comes in, and not as a feel good practice, but I believe a powerful career accelerator as well. And in the age of AI and hybrid workplaces, mentorship has never been more important than now. So, my first question would be to Ashutosh: what's one mindset shift you try to bring about in people you mentor, especially those who are trying to future proof themselves or making themselves ready for future?
Uh, Thank you, Neha. Thank you for asking this. So I would add, once people join in the organization, in this world, people are, continuously seeking feedback, especially in the career guidance. So one thing is you should define the clear purpose, how their work is contributing for the organization. So how their values are contributing for the organization, what they are doing, and what exactly it is happening with the organization in terms of their communication. If I talk about, in terms of providing them, clear career path from where exactly they can grow, what are the tools they need to learn. So future proofing themselves, in terms of having the perfect communication, providing them, with the right frame set in terms of providing them emotionally basing well-being environment where they feel safe. Job security, of course, this is important. And then
Mm.
probably understanding their challenges, what sort of challenges they will face, and how they can overcome that. So it is, having the perfect communication, providing them, this agility in this rapid changing environment, how they can grow, and what sort of new skill they can employ. So having the, increasing their learning curve, that is prime important. So this is what how we are doing it. And prime focus, learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this
Yeah.
is how we focus on the people.
Hmm. Great. I think that's the way forward to learn, unlearn, relearn, and always skilling or upskilling ourselves. So, Anisha, you work closely with future leaders, right? So, mentorship often helps people move from being good performers to strategic thinkers. How do you coach as a mentor to make that leap from execution to leadership, and your views on that?
Um, Thanks, Neha. I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes,
Okay,
very well.
great. Thanks, first of all, for this platform and to everybody out there who are there along with us panelists, and looking forward to hearing great insights, which I can go back and imply in my organization for that matter. Good question, Neha. I think future leaders are somebody whom we have to look up to at that point in time. And also, I think one of the major things that we do as an organization is wherein we empower the future leaders to take their own decisions.
Hmm.
Most of the time, what happens is that micromanagement comes into place as a very vital thing. We
Yeah.
go back and we want everybody to take ownership and grow
Hmm.
and perform and deliver. But what we do not understand is that most of the times we become the leaders become the blocking point for them,
Yeah.
because they are not able to take the decisions, right? So I
Hmm.
think one of the things that I have learned as part of my experience, not only as a future leader, as a leader and a team member, is
Yeah.
that it's good to do mistakes, own it and then rectify it, and that all this process doesn't happen unless and until you're not going to empower anyone. Right now, this empowerment can be any point in time. It can be
Hmm.
a future leader getting empowered, or
Hmm.
even a new joiner who has come into the organization
Yeah.
getting empowered. And that is my strong belief. That one is that the second point also is that while I said that people should be able to given a chance to do mistakes and then take the ownership of that also, as leaders or as management people, it's also important for us to tell them, to guide them what could have been the best possible way of doing it, right?
Right.
Otherwise it is just like a teenager, that
Hmm.
you are going back and telling a teenager that you should have done this, you should have not done this, etc., etc., but you're not going back and telling them what would have been the right way of doing it, or what can could have been the best process of doing certain things. So I think these are the two things which is very important for future leaders strategically to grow up in their
Hmm.
career, what we as leaders can do, or as an organization we can provide for.
Right. I think you made a very nice and valid point wherein the leaders only become the blockers and they try to micromanage things. But sometimes, as leaders, we might not understand like what level of micromanagement are we doing. Sometimes we think that okay, this much is fine, but actually we are digging in too much. So very well said, I think. Because Rajesh, I would like to ask you as well, how can mentorship in be embedded into onboarding and early development since you've mentored many students and you've also mentored early professionals? Do you think that mentoring can also help reduce attrition and build belonging from day one? You're on mute.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. You're good. All right. So thanks, Neha. See, for me, mentorship is like visiting a historical place. It comes to providing a mentorship to students who are seeking their empowerment, right? So it is like going to a historical place where a lot of interesting facts are there, but you don't know about it. If you hire a guide, he will navigate you through everything, and you know the place better, right? So mentorship, in my opinion, is same as when it comes to the students who are seeking their future employment with any organization. So we as a mentor can provide them. Like I am also doing the mentorship with a lot of uh, students and future leaders, right? So we try to navigate them. I very much like my thoughts are also very much resonate with Miss Anisha as she told about the leadership. So I also use some transformational and servant leadership uh, in that way, and I also try to like provide proper guidance to them because there are a lot of questions in their mind. They are like very nervous.
Yes.
They're they are very uncertain about their future sometimes, and the profession they would like to like work on. Okay, so that way mentorship plays a very crucial role. That is my opinion about this.
Hmm. Also, Rajesh, since you've been into hiring, do you see that post-pandemic and now, especially in AI world, do we see change in the hiring anyway, like the way we assess students or anything that you think has changed and evolved during this time?
Yes, the digital literacy has evolved a lot. So, where, see, before COVID, mostly, and the working trends have also changed. People are very particular about their working style. They very ask beforehand that If suppose I have a lot of examples, I have done hiring too much, okay, for many domains. So people have a very common question nowadays that is it work from home, hybrid, or work from office? So the working trend has changed. Apart from that, as I told, that digital literacy has also taken place. So people are more aware about the tools. Uh, we as a recruiter are also required to know the tools for interviewing people, and we are using a lot of ATS tools to screen them properly. So digital literacy and the shift in trend from work from office to work from home hybrid has it has become a new normal nowadays after COVID. And in the age of AI, AI has also become an extended arm of human resources. Like it works like our, you can say, a super boss, a super companion, teammate to us. So it provides a lot of facilities and a lot of ease of doing the work. So from automating repetitive or time-consuming tasks, so we as HR people we can focus more on strategic initiative and more people-centric initiative. So this is the change we are witnessing right now.
Okay, I think I would like to ask Anisha as well about the same. Do you see any shift? I keep on seeing your requirement that you post on LinkedIn and about hiring. Do you see any change in the strategy of hiring or anything that has evolved post pandemic, or maybe also post pandemic, it also now AI driven world?
Couple of things, Neha. One of the things that I've seen is one, people are more inclined towards the new professionals are more inclined towards hybrid or work from home setup. Offline setup doesn't click to them, to many of them. I While we understand it's more from the perspective of managing work life balance and lot of other things also,
Yeah.
and wasting your time on road instead of being there in the office at home and delivering your work. One is that. The other thing what I've seen also is that lot of upskilling which is happening after
Right.
COVID. People have Kids have become really very, or I'll say professionals have become very understanding or accepting the fact that AI is in market today, right? And
Yes.
they are all ready to accept AI as part of their daily journey,
Hmm.
plus or their professional journey, I should say, plus something as a growth pattern to them.
Okay.
Or and they're trying to figure out that how AI can help them to upskill. And there is a very great shift when I talk about an organization also, right? So if I have to talk about our organization, we want people who are in line and who want to be in place today where we are at this point in time, who are tech savvy, no different kind of technology. Even if we are talking about fashion designing, right? I was very
Hmm.
surprised that in one of the forums also I was sharing this, that how designing also has become a tech driven field altogether. It is not about a canvas and a pencil, but the creative people have become so tech savvy now that technology plays a very vital role there too. So I think this upskilling is something which I feel is a very great and big shift which has come across when it comes to today's world post pandemic. Um, and people open for that. So somebody who is not ready to upskill, let me be very very honest, they lose the game, right? Very rightly, as Ashutosh said, it's important for everyone to learn,
Yeah.
unlearn, and then relearn again. And
Yeah.
it is not only for future leaders but for the leaders too, for all of us too,
Right.
for that.
Right. In fact, I see a lot of leaders, professionals are doing certifications online. They are constantly building on their portfolio for, that shows that not only that you can't be very secure at any point in your career. they are like very senior professionals are also reskilling, upskilling themselves through different certification. So I think I would like to bring in Rashmi here and would like to understand from her, do you think that HR needs to play a stronger role in reskilling internally before going outside, or what is your overall view in upskilling and reskilling enforcement through HR, like from a strategic point of view?
Thanks, Neha. Sorry, I had lost internet. I came back again. So thank you for this question and wonderful opportunity to be on this platform. Um, so what has been the trend now is any roles what emerges out of the organization, we always look out for these resources outside, but
Hmm.
we tend to forget that these resources are already available internally, and they're already halfway there because the existing resources what we have in the organization are already culture. They have adjusted to the culture, they have adjusted to the values of the organization, and they know what the organization is, and they can bring in a ready impact to the organization by literally upskilling them. So, what my suggestion to the HRs outside the world is, first, if there's any openings, look internally if you find those resources internally. And
Hmm.
also, when you go hire externally, you also end up spending quite a lot of money, one, and also the process. It's a tedious process to run
Yeah.
through the interview from the scratch, and
Hmm.
probably you might not get the person who's already out there or ready to take up the role from the day one. So my as an HR person, you look for those resources internally, upskill them, and look at where they are at the moment. Look at their interest, and the performance management also plays a very key role in this entire process. When you're doing this process, look for people who are what they're looking for in the next step or the next career step in the organization. Align that to the openings you have in the organization, and try to build that gap by
Hmm.
training them, skilling them, talk to the managers how to develop their skills, etc. So that way you actually save money. One, you also save time, and this also acts as a retention for an organization. You're retaining your roles, critical people in the organization, giving them opportunities to learn and grow within the organization.
Right. And you said that internal skilling is comparatively economic for any organization than outside one. But as an HR strategic leader, how do you make sure that employees are very have to be engaged into those activities, and they are usually not consider when you as an HR take some kind of initiative for learning, upskilling, they are not very acceptable to that. So what are your views on that? How can we make it as part of a part of organization that is a way forward?
Uh,
Be
when you say that, I think you're calling out the readiness gap between
Yeah.
the existing person and the role in itself. Whenever we hire, we also see this gap. For example, one, the remote work is here to stay, right?
Hmm.
Post COVID, we all know, and initially we all find it difficult to working from remote, especially even the HR themselves had a difficulty working from remote. And working in an hybrid environment is very difficult rather than working in face to face, etc. In such kind of environment, remote or an hybrid, collaboration becomes a key. So, how do you collaborate with people remotely working? It could be
Hmm.
in the same country, it could be globally, etc. How do you communicate with them is more important. And also, some employees or some people find it very difficult to build trust when you're working
Right.
in an environment like hybrid or remote, right? And also, it's also difficult. Communication is key, as we all know, right? We also lack in communicating the right message, what we want to during in this environment. We also fail to coordinate in such environment. We always try to coordinate better, but there are times that we fail to coordinate better in this kind of remote working environment. The other aspect, what I really see, is the adaptability to the changes and resilience to the work or resilience to the challenges what we find in today's world. The reason why I'm saying is this because the business or the business cycles are always striving to change, bring in
Yeah.
changes, bring in new goals, and this is very pivotal, to the any organization per se. For people to actually thrive in this kind of environment is very difficult. So people should learn to continuously adapt to the new environment they work in, to the new tools we have in the organization, to the new processes in the organization. I always see there's a kind of ambiguity in people when people are working in such kind of environment as such. The other aspect, when we talk about AI, when we talk about automation, when we talk about tools, we all forget there's something called as critical thinking and problem solving. These two are not AI would be able to help you. This is again a human-driven thing. Unless I get results from AIs. For example, I drive some data and I see some data. The human part is how do I analyze this data? And how do I take firm decisions based on this data? These are something which is literally critical. And most of us people say, "Yeah, I'm losing jobs because AI is in the picture." AI is there to stay. It's not going to go away. So we need to
Yeah.
live with it. And we also need to understand what is more important as a human, rather than what AI is bringing. AI is helping out in certain aspects, but at the same time, human also have certain skills which are very critical, and you need to work along with AI.
Thank you. I think great insights, Rashmi. I would like to ask Ashutosh here. Ashutosh, what shifts you have observed in the way companies now evaluate readiness for in the hiring process? How do you think it has changed or evolved or stayed the same?
So I would say, technical aspect is, prime important, even as if no in the past. But apart from the technicality things, if I talk about, companies do for adaptability of the candidate, then their growth mindset and culture fitment as well. So these are the three basic things, which people will look upon. And if I talk about, person should be on agility in the learning, new learnings, because whatever the experience he's bringing on the table, he should be ready to adopt new tools, new way of working style, and of course soft skills that prime emphasis on the how you are emotionally connected with the people, how you speak with the people, how sort of communication, how sorted are you in the clarity in the communication is. Then cultural alignment with the organization, whether the person is aligned with the culture or he is ready to align, that is also prime important in terms of hiring. And one thing is readiness to change, because of course shifting from one parameter to another, that is also required in terms of hiring. And then since it's a technical era where we are more focused on data driven approaches, so this is also one of the factor. And I can give you a recent example. So since my organization, we are into hardcore technical sales. It's not a hardcore sales, it's a technical sales. You need to understand the customer's requirement, and then accordingly you can push in your product or suggest your product. So we were hiring for one of our positions. So generally, every organization prefers someone from the competitor or someone who's ready fit the organization. So recently we interviewed one guy who was from a different organization, not from the competitor, even from the different product. But while interviewing that candidate, the kind of aura he has in terms of communication, that is one. Then his style, his readiness to learn at that stage. So everybody was impressed because what he was doing, he was perfect in that. And even in terms of technical, how value based selling he was doing. So that is something that impressed everyone. Even he was not from the core segment, because at that stage he was, his basic concept was clear, his understanding was clear, his team handling strategy was clear, customer handling strategy was clear. So that is of course, people don't just look for the technical things, that is important. But apart from this, your readiness to field, adopting new tools, adopting the company's culture, that is prime important. That is what exactly we are looking for.
Great. I think that was a great example for everyone to understand that not only technical skills, but you have to also work on the other skills as well. So, here I would like to have Anisha's view. Anisha, do you think anytime we give like more weightage to the non-technical skills, and you think that certain candidate had those skills and you hired because of more of that skills and less of technical skills, how do you see that weightage?
Um, I mean, like it is a honestly, Neha, it is a very tricky question because you have to balance it out, right?
Yeah.
There are a couple of positions in the organization where technical can be something which you can teach someone, or you can
Yes.
train someone on if the person is, is somebody who wants to learn and wants
Hmm.
to grow, and wants to experiment. Let me be very honest, right?
Hmm.
And then what matters is actually the attitude the person has to
Hmm.
work with. But there are a couple of positions where you need to have people who need to, their technical skills have to be very important. And I'll give you a very small example of this, and this is a
Yeah.
very basic thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, we have people in our organization who might be, when they started their career, they would have started as an engineer, right?
Hmm.
And it is very normal, right? You would have also seen, and you would have crossed paths many of the professionals who will come back and say that, oh, by the virtue of my qualification, I graduated as an engineer, but
Hmm.
I landed up as a marketing person. I landed
Right.
up as a
Yes.
salesperson, or I landed up as an HR professional because I did
Yes.
an MBA in HR, right?
Yes.
So these, what I feel is that it is always a mix. For
Hmm.
me, when I am doing an interview, or when I want a candidate for I'm looking for a right team member for our organization. Something which I resonate with Ashutosh, and I'll say is that what I look at, technical skills is something which has a priority, which is at
Yeah.
50%,
Yeah.
right? The next 50% is the attitude the person carries.
Hmm.
And I will not talk about culture fitment because culture is something which is built by the people. It is
Yeah.
not built by the organization, right?
Right.
But you have couple of values for yourself.
Hmm.
And instead of having those values is something which is written in a employee handbook or
Hmm.
written on the walls or written somewhere, what we have to actually look at is everybody who's coming in into the organization fitting onto that value system or not?
Hmm.
And that is what is more important for me as an HR professional who's looking forward to add team members, be it anywhere, right? Attitude, upskilling, learning methodology, getting into a new sector altogether is very important, right? We do hire people who might not be from apparel brand,
Hmm.
right? We
Right.
do hire people who are not, who might be working. I'm myself not an somebody who has ever worked in the fashion industry or an apparel brand, right? This is the first ever apparel brand, but I'm working here and I'm successful in the organization as a professional,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, my point is, and this is what I feel, is that if someone has the right attitude of growing, learning, um,
Hmm.
uh, and ready to deliver, that person is the right person to be associated with any organization,
Right.
whatever the background they come from. However, if they have little bit of knowledge, a training can always be provided if the person is ready to learn, right? That is also
Right.
very important for that matter. So I think it's mix of 50-50%, let me be very honest, and
Right.
that's how we normally do the talent acquisition.
Okay, thanks. I think I would like to have Rajesh's view on it. Rajesh, I would like to understand from you, how do you assess anyone who is a fresher, and the pointers that Anisha mentioned, that they look for adaptability, a right attitude. How do you see that in a fresher, and are we able to assess them in right way, or are we building any strategy to assess those kind of right talent who later on fit very well into our culture? Because ultimately every employee has to align with our culture, and that's how we can grow as a company. Otherwise it becomes very difficult to retain them. So your views please on that.
Yeah, so right. So see, as Anisha said very well, see, attitude is all about it is all about attitude, the employee's attitude. We also agree, like we also resonate with that thought. And as far as I am concerned, I also look for the attitude, because skills you can learn, but attitude, whatever attitude you bring to our company, that like shapes our culture. So the cultural fit aspect is very important whenever we hire people. As far as freshers are concerned, they are we can mold them as we want. In slowly they can inculcate our culture and set them properly.
like within the organization. So for that, to ensure all those things, we have a onboarding plan that is 30, 60, and 90 days plan, where we assess their technical skills, what they are bringing along with them. Then we provide them proper onboarding. In that, we also inculcate our organization's culture in many ways. We have several ways. For that, we have some activities, some modeling also for that. So that's how we ensure that within that time frame. So cultural value is very important for us. That's how we ensure that.
Sure. Rashmi, in your overall experience, have you seen any strategy that has worked well versus any other, or that would you think that yes, this strategy was really something that we put into, and then we could hire good people and or assess well?
Thanks, Neha. I think most of us here, Anisha, Rajesh, and Ashutosh, have already mentioned that we hire for value rather than skills. The most
Yes.
strategy, what we generally used to, when I was in back in Wipro, what we
Yeah.
generally used to ask questions not on the role, they're more like a culture-based questions. Given a scenario, how would you react? So this is typically to assess the candidate in terms of how is he thinking, in terms of what are the values he comes from the family background, and in terms of how is been his practice, all this while, etc. So this scenario-based questions typically helps us assess their values, assess their culture, and assess how do you react in certain situation. So this ideally helps us to hire people based on their values rather than based on skills. As Anisha rightly said, we hire people based on their attitude, and we hire people based on the eagerness to learn, and also sometimes that particular roles. If, for example, we are hiring a very experienced people for certain roles, we also need to understand how eager are they to unlearn whatever they learned so far. So learning is something is important, but at the same time, unlearning things what you have learned so far is a critical thing, because unlearning is something very difficult. We as humans have learned and given my time in learning so many things in the past. The current role actually asked me to unlearn those things and start off a fresh start and build new skills, build new attitude, etc. Which is something which is very difficult for experienced people, which I've seen practically. But this is a key thing. So you have to unlearn certain things to learn new things. So that is something which I find it so difficult.
Hmm.
Neha, I
Uh,
just want to add here one thing, and this is just a small experience, right?
yeah.
I was getting interviewed for one of the positions, and this was like a couple of years back. And I do remember that my final round was with the team, a couple of people whom I had to, and it was sort of a group discussion. And very surprising that a very young leader actually asked me that. Um, Anisha, you come with so much of experience. You know a lot of things, right? But are you one person? Do you think you will be able to unlearn what you have done till date? Because what we do is maybe in the similar lines, but in a different manner. So, are you
Hmm.
sure you will be able to do that? I think this is that question was something which came to me as a surprise as an interview at the time of group discussion for that matter. But what I feel is, as very rightly Rashmi picked up, right? Um, the post COVID question that you asked, the post COVID thing, what has come up is that you cannot be one person who thinks that this was something I have done in my career, this is what I've learned, and I'm going to go as is, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and that is the biggest example. While you know your skill set, while you retain your skill set and your expertise, still you go ahead with knowing the organization where you are going to go, wait for to learn the processes, wait to
Yes.
experience the step by step values, and then see that whatever you have done in the past, how that can help you in the present. I think
Hmm.
that gap has to be filled up And this also comes up for future leaders, and Rajesh will agree with me, as he being somebody as a mentor for future leaders and for freshers. They have learned something theoretical when they started, right? But we all know who are there in this panel that what we learn theoretically is something
Yeah.
which is very difficult to be done, as somebody practically. So, how to align both of that thing together is something that we all have to learn together, right? And
Absolutely.
that is one open point that we should always be looking forward for while we are interviewing also the future leaders.
Anisha, when you mentioned that theoretical knowledge, everybody had a smirk on their faces because down the line, we all know what that means. So, in fact, I wanted to, in fact, open this question to the panel, whether are we still looking at the degrees, or are we moving away from just degrees and moving towards more the attitude, the skills, and the adaptability? How do you see that? Or are we just speaking for the sake of it, or are we actually doing it in your organization respectively? I would like Rajesh to start with it, and then I'll have other views as well on, like from others as well.
Great. So Neha, see, as far as I am concerned, okay, and the organization I work for, so yes, we definitely look for the attitude, the openness to learn. Okay, that's the important thing, and the cultural fit. So for that, we also have some method, okay, to ensure that. As far as the industries are concerned, different industries are concerned. So they are still slowly and steadily adopting. Majorly, if I talk about big giants like Google, IBM, and Accentures, so they have moved from that like traditional criteria to look for degrees only. They are looking for the skills right now, and like they are looking for their certifications, their project portfolio. So that's how they are like hiring them, and some startups are also adopting this pattern, but still some legacy organizations, they are like looking for degrees only. If I'll talk particularly about any profession like medical, law field, so they are dependent on their degrees and their experience or their studies, whatever they have done during their entire tenure of their like institutions. So that's how they are working. But yes, they are shifting their trends, not those legacy organizations, but many organizations who can adopt. So they are trying to do that.
Right.
So, so this is how
So,
that is my observation is.
yeah. So, Ashutosh, do you see that happening in of your throughout your experience? I'm talking about, or have you seen it happening?
Yes, I have seen it even in the one of my previous organization for the IT especially. We used to hire people who are not from technical background, and I
Oh,
have seen many candidates who have done normal graduation but having done certification and then working on the continuously on the projects. So they do have good technical knowledge. They are able to answer your queries, and we have hired. We changed the strategy. So that is how things are working in the market.
that's interesting. I think because whenever we think about placements, then we always think what you have done and how much percentage you've got, and then that's how we start with it. And yes, I think this is the first point because there is a huge chunk that you have to find few people out of them, so that is agreeable. But are we seeing any changes, Anish, at your end, or Rashmi? Would you like to like share any instance or anything of throughout your experience you've seen?
Anisha, you want to go first?
No worries, Rashmi, go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. So what Rajesh and Ashutosh mentioned just now, there is a change, there's a shift, of course, but it's not that we have completely gotten away with the graduation degrees, etc.
Yeah.
Some amount of, I would say around 25% of the organizations are still looking for certain education background. But at the same time, if you remember some time back, some organization used to hire only from a very premier institutions like
Yes.
IIM, XLRI. Those things have gradually, come down, I would say. Now organizations are quite open to hire people from across degrees. It may not be a relevant degree for a relevant role, but some amount of education is definitely required. But at the same time, people are also are looking for how open you are to learn something, how open you are to collaborate with your team, how open you are to work in a diverse organization. Most of the organization we work is a global presence, right? So, which is a key. How you collaborate with a diverse group is also very important. And some of the aspects like how good you are at adapting to new things. For example, if you are moving from a bigger organization, big corporates to a startup, startup is definitely a change with decision making or with products, with the practices they have. They go through transformation every day. So you as a leader or you as a mid-career person, when you're looking to transform from a bigger corporate to a startup, these are some things which are more important for you. How quickly can you adapt to new things around you? How quickly can you make decisions? And also,
Yeah.
there's a matter of bringing in best practices with us when you are at a certain experience level. As Anisha rightly mentioned in the earlier conversation, saying we all come with, I did this in my ex organization, it worked well. Let me also bring the same practices to the new organization. It might or it might not work. So, what is more important for you is get into the organization, learn their practices, learn what is the business all about, and learn what you can add more value to it rather than changing it. So anybody, any role you go into in a new organization, everybody would be looking to change or to, make people get adjusted to the kind of practices you bring into the organization. But it doesn't work well all the time. It might, but it doesn't work well all the time. So you kind of get adapted to the new changes in any new organization you go to. I would say these are three key aspects what people or the organization looking forward in an external world, along with a degree, which is kind of getting subsidized uh, uh, very recently. So yeah.
I think there is one of our viewers. He says, in the corporate landscape, a significant taboo has emerged. There is an overwhelming emphasis on obtaining more degree certificates, often overshadowing the crucial importance of practical execution and skills. This fixation on formal education leads many to accumulate credentials without focusing on the real world abilities and drive success in the workplace. It is disheartening to recognize that while degrees serve as a foundation requirement, the true differentiators is hiring. I think, Anisha, if you can take that one,
I think I
or
was manifesting to answer that question while I was reading, and it came true. Uh, see, my point here is a very valid point that he has raised. But there is a positive side to it, and let us look at the positive side instead of looking at the negative side. While we talk about certifications or we talk about upskilling, formal education, etc., why have been emphasizing on it? The reason is that there is a theoretical part of it which gives you an idea what has to be done, right?
right,
When it comes to certifications, it means that what is coming new is something which is coming up your way, right? Now today, if I am an HR professional sitting here and I say that I know all of compliance, I might be the most incorrect person coming back and trying to associate with that, because there are
right.
so many changes which has come across in the compliance. If I do not go formally and do a certification which gives me a knowledge about it, I am not going to upskill myself, right? Similarly, anybody, so if I would have done my MBA in 2003 and somebody has done an MBA in 2022, I'm telling you that that person is going to be more capable by virtue of knowledge in comparison to me, because I have to upskill and take certifications and take new things which have come in into the industry in comparison to that that candidate who has already learned that in the college and in the institution and then coming to implement it across, right? So I think while there is a balance, right, and organizations are asking you to do the certification or asking for certifications uh, just to gauge the amount of interest that anybody has of upskilling themselves. And we've been talking about upskilling so
Yeah,
far, right? Everybody is talking about upskilling, including somebody who is a starter or somebody who's already there set up as a leader in the organization. So
right.
certifications does help to give you a base. Picking up from that base is up to a team member's responsibility, right? Additionally, I think it is an opportunity also. Uh, I know one of my ex-colleague, who is a
Hmm.
finance professional, and very nicely he recently told me something. He said, Anish, I've been in finance for 15, 16 years now, but I really like what you do. Just sit,
Hmm.
talk to people, help them grow. I mean, like, coming from a finance person was a different thing. Like, he was telling
Yeah.
me that I'm done with numbers now. I think I want to be a mentor. So first thing I told him was that for you to become a mentor, it is very important that you go and do some kind of certification and see how you can be a good mentor, because that in itself is an upskilling thing. So my point too, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the gentleman who asked this question,
Ankit,
but
Ankit Walia.
Ankit. All right. So I hope I have answered to Ankit that while having certifications is important for an individual, for organization, it is going back and requesting or looking for identifying that particular right team member who wants to grow along with the organization and make the organization at par with the industry, the way industry is growing.
Right. I think Ankit, you must have gotten insight that there is certain amount of base requirement that every organization on everywhere it is needed. Maybe later on you can discover other aspects as well and build onto the profile. Like Ashutosh mentioned that they hired irrespective of the person belongs to technology or not. So there are still organization where you can see and find places where your skill matches and they don't care much about degrees, but yes, for now degree is staying. So let's focus on that. So I want to also talk about very very important thing right now going on, which is AI. So what do you think, AI is a threat, a tool, or just a teammate in your opinion? Like, I would like to take from everybody this question because this is for everyone. So Rashmi, if you can provide your view, what do you think?
I think in my conversation and in many of our conversation, we mentioned AI is there. It's not going anywhere. But how do you treat AI is up to every individuals. If you want to treat them, if you want to treat AI as a team, it's there to collaborate with you and do a lot of more things along with humans. If you treat AI as a threat, then probably we are missing out on a lot of opportunities what it's going to give us, right? So AI is there, but as I said in my earlier conversation too, as a human, what you can actually get out of AI is up to every individual how they use it. One, for example, as I said, AI helps you in data analyzing, it helps you to give you fancy dashboards. But at the end of the day, it's humans who are going to make a firm decisions based on the analytics or the outputs what you get from AI. So that is something which is not getting away. I would also like to give one classic example, which all of us have heard about IBM, right? Recently, IBM laid off around 200 to 400 people in HR operations. Um, this could be, I was doing a little research on that. This is because we were in HR operations, we are also used to do mundane work.
Yeah.
The same routine works, for example, releasing employee IDs with very basic intelligence required. I just gain few information, I release employee IDs, and at the same time, I release a lot of offer letters for every candidate who joins the organization. These are the roles which is getting going away because of AI, because AI is there to help you take up this mundane activities or routine activities, what we call, which needs very less intelligent. But at the same time, AI is also creating new roles like strategic thinker. That is something which is more important. Along with using AI, how you can become more, of strategic, use those information to build a very build strategies around the organization and help the organization to get to a next level in terms of financial decisions, in terms of business decisions, in terms of sales decisions. I've recently also heard about, marketing does this survey, AI helps you make surveys across the
Yeah.
world, and how do you use those surveys to build your own capabilities to be far ahead from your competitors, right? These are some things which are important. But I would say I always treat AI as very positive because it's helping me do my work faster, make my decisions more firm, and help my leaders whom I'm working with in the organization with a sense of getting research points and helping them. This is what the market says about our organization, right? These are important. I think we all should learn to live with AI and how we make it more useful and bring in a positive impact from that.
Right. To that point, I also wanted to understand from you all that AI is a necessity. We understand that because lots and lots of tools are coming in. In fact, the tools that we were using are also bringing in AI launches. They also have inculcated AI, some kind of data analysis going on. Especially, I think in staff, in management, they are doing the salary analysis. A lot of data analysis is being done by AI. Do you think it is somewhere lacking the ethical usage as well? Because there is no ethics. The other day, I was reading that there are ChatGPT's pen as well available in the market. So, what is your view that going forward, AI is going to be a threat, a teammate, or how do we put ethics in place? Or are we doing anything in your organization? If we are using AI, then do we have any ethical practices to curb its usage after a certain point? So, Ashutosh, your view on that? Any of that you would like to uh, take up and answer?
Hmm. Surely, Neha. So I would say, anything, everything in the world, they have pros and cons. So same
Yeah.
with the AI case. If it is utilized with the intelligence for the useful purpose, it will be helpful. But if we use it in the other way, it will be a threat to all of us. So prime thing is defining the integrities and values where it should be utilized, especially with the organizations. There should be some protocols,
Yeah.
which tool we have to. So recently, you have seen many companies have developed their internal platforms so that
Hmm.
people can adopt. But instead of saying debarring people that you don't need to use AI because this is the
Hmm.
future, so
Yeah.
people have to use
Yeah.
by anyhow. It's a just
Right.
like a friction, it's a necessity evil. So you have to adopt
Yes.
it. So there should
Yes.
be some certain set of rules or protocols by which it can utilize in the efficient way, so that it can be can helping you making your work easier rather than creating any ruckus or any potential threats. So
Hmm.
integrity and value, it's a core purpose of organization to define.
Right. Anisha, what do you think about all of this?
Neha, very rightly, as you said, AI is not going away. It is ground reality. Let us just
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you more from, or not only as an HR professional, but as somebody who is responsible for legal and comes from a legal background too, also. Uh, what is that you put in, right, is something, the output which is going to come out. So, what is
Hmm.
very important, as Ashutosh mentioned, it is very important that how your team members are
Hmm.
what is the information that they are putting into that system. Let me
Yeah.
just give you an example of ChatGPT and Perplexity for that matter today. Now, imagine for a data analysis, I go back and I upload my company financials. It's going to, it's going to be there everywhere,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Right.
So, I mean, like the organization has to come out with the guidelines, not
Hmm.
stop people from using AI. That is the ground reality. Let people accept it, but you have to make your team members smart enough that they know that for what are they using it. The
Yes.
other thing also, what I feel is that AI at any point in time is can be used as a learning platform also, right?
Hmm.
Because where this data coming from is from multiple set of platforms and then collating and it bringing at one place. It can also be used for strategical thinking as to what you are not doing right and what can be done right, isn't it?
Hmm.
Or whatever what you are doing right and what others are not doing it right. So
Hmm.
it works both ways. So I think guidelines is very important for your team members to know as an organization. We should not restrain people from using AI at all. It should also be used as a learning platform so that they grow and they understand what is now there in the market. And
Right.
I think AI is going to help you get rid of lot of admin work. Right? Very rightly, as Rashmi said, right?
Hmm.
Creating an employee ID, what is that going to bring any benefit to anybody who wants to grow in their life as an HR professional? Nothing, right? Today you have HRMS portals which are helping you do that. And that makes a lot of sense also, right? So you have people who are there in the organization who are helping. Okay, you need a manual intervention of somebody going back and putting the data into the system, into the
Hmm.
HRMS system, right?
Right.
At least that person is learning a new software which is there in the market. So that is a
Right.
learning for the person. But this employee ID creation and everything is done automatically in the system itself. The attendance, you don't have to have a person who is an attendance keeper every day,
Hmm.
during the whole time they are going back and looking at the register and seeing
Right.
how many hours somebody has worked. The
Yes.
system is doing that. It's very
Hmm.
unproductive work, and we should
Yeah.
not be scared of it at all. Let me be very
Hmm.
honest. It's making our life easy. It's up to
Hmm.
us how we are going to adapt to it as an organization, as a professional too. So
Right.
I feel there is a conscious call, and it's important for all of us to go with that conscious call.
Right. Before I ask Rajesh's view, I would like to have this comment read by Ashlyn. He says that being an HR, he has done certification of Master HR in AI, Master in Chat GPT, and prompt engineering, and it helps him a lot. And he can do better than others in HR and other work practices. So, Rajesh, I think prompt engineering is something that has become a mandate because it is how the chat gpt or any other tool understands the language. So I think that is very important and crucial for everybody to understand, because a lot of people I meet, they don't know like outside of chat gpt, they write in one line and then they again write another statement in other line. So it has to be a proper prompt given to the chat gpt or any other ai tool to make it understand, because ultimately it's not an intelligence, it is an artificial intelligence, and that's how we have to understand the usage of tools as well. So Rajesh, what do you think that as hr we should work on learning the tools and certification or anything in your organization that you are doing around ai?
Okay, that's great. So AI is a future and present as well, right? And AI literacy is what's required nowadays. So upskilling
Hmm.
and learning new skills related to AI is very essential to survive in today's world, because AI has potential to like diminish a lot of jobs from its root, right? But yes, if there should be good governance, good like that ethical structure within the organization, so we can avoid that also. And AI, as you mentioned, that it is not a natural intelligence; it's an artificial intelligence, and it
Right.
works on the prompts or the algorithms which are decided by humans themselves. So that works under the parameter of those algorithms.
Hmm.
So we, as a human, just need to empathize, and as an organization, we need to create a good governance to sustain all the jobs which are already here. And AI is definitely a great enabler for us, for human resource and other departments as well. So AI and human collaboration is much required in today's world. So this is how I pursue this. So that is my opinion about AI.
Hmm. Again, I believe the overall what we have discussed is that AI is important and it is the way forward. We must use it ethically. However, we should not completely transfer our thinking to the AI, because it's thinking should stay with us and I should do like our job as an assistant. So, moving from there, I would like you all to have one bold prediction for what HR will look like in 2030. Anything that you think that in 5 years down the line, how the HR will look like. Anyone would like to go first? I don't want to.
I'll go first. I don't know
Anisha.
how it's going to look, how HR is going to look in next 5 years, but I know something by next year there will be a lot of changes which is going to come in. See, I think HR with this, with everything, AI, upskilling, thought process which has changed across. What I believe is, and I truly believe this when I say this, is that HR will understand business well and more than what it is used to know, right? Um, HR will be doing hiring not basis the only the JD which comes across to them, but they will also play a very vital role as hiring partner, right? They don't have to, they will be, so let me give you an example. So for example, if I have to pick up somebody, right, what the previous thing what used to happen was we used to collate all the resumes, just see the basic attitude check, how many times have they moved in the organization, what is their salary, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Push it
Yeah.
across to the hiring manager. Hiring manager will say that, okay, technically I feel one, two, three, four, three things have to be done, so I'm shortlisting this. What I believe is that going forward, HR is going to cut short that and say that, okay, I am going to, uh, I'll give you the technically right person. This is the resume. You just
Oh.
go back and check and do an interview. And you know that means that you are the HR is going to help reduce the amount of man hours which today and hiring managers actually spend on. That is one point. The second point also is that as HR, we are going to go back and tell the business that this is the impact that we can bring across, be it bringing across the right talent or retaining the right talent or seeing that how this right talent can grow and what is the kind of benefit that it is going to bring across to the table. So I and very, like, you know, we've been hearing this out that HR is going to become a business partner, etc. It is actually going to become a business partner, and many of us have very rightly started moving, right, like the in the same way, right? Many of us now today understand business. We understand numbers. We understand values. We understand how an MIS of an organization look like, how a balance sheet looks like, and that is the journey that all of us as HR we are doing it, and which makes a lot of sense, right? So we are going to be actual business partners, and we are going to be people who are going to be forefront field holders for our
Right.
organizations.
Right. I really like the your insight, Anisha, where you said that HR will also talk about numbers. They will say that because of this, uh, we should do this. So that will be properly backed up with data, with analysis. So that is something really very nice, and also being a part of the overall change and influencing the decision that makes HR a more strategic decision maker. As you said, we are working towards that. So, Rashmi, what do you think how the HR would look like? Maybe not in 2030, but in recent future, if you can think of anything.
Uh, Thanks, Neha. I was about to say not 2030, there are a lot
Yeah.
of changes we're already seeing through. For example, what Anisha said in terms of hiring, we have seen a lot of AI being implemented there.
Yeah.
While people used to screen, source resumes, but now AI is doing that work for us, right? And it also doing the first screening of a recruiter and to understand if this candidate really fits. And it also gives us a percentage of what is the match, what is the percentage of the match of this candidate to the job roles what we're looking at. So what will happen in the next couple of years down the lane is most of this mandate or the routine jobs will be taken over by AI, which is absolutely right and good. It's a good practice if this is being done in future. Two, as human resources, we will not manage resources per se. We will work with people around us. We will ensure we add more value to the people we are being hired in the organization. We work with them. We don't any longer do this one-on-one conversations with employee for the sake of. We will truly have those, human common conversations with the employees we hire. That's because we're all this mandate work, all these routine jobs is being taken over by AI, and HR is really a partner. I would say a business partner or a human partner to the business stakeholders you work with, and absolutely. I mean, obviously, the HR leader would obviously take a chair in the board for sure, and that
Yeah.
person Yeah, that is always there, but the percentages, if you see in the coming years, will be higher. In most organization, one, we see a diverse group of leaders, and two, you also see a diverse roles being part of the board in the recent few years down the line, we say.
Great. I think our HR role would expand just from onboarding because or hiring because whenever we think of HR, we mostly think of hiring, onboarding, payroll, and it would become more involved into decision making, influencing. So those kind of roles you see that happening. Rajesh, your view on that, please.
My view is also the same. HR will be a strategic human business partner within the organization, where he will take care of the culture aspects also, decision making also, and he will collaborate between the AI and the human intelligence because AI is emerging, and soon we will have new AI agents with us, like our teammates. Sometimes they are as a boss also. So HR has
Right.
to collaborate among all of them and make the perfect balance. So this is how HR is emerging for future roles.
Hmm. Ashutosh, you've worked in technology company. Your take on that? Because AI is technology, and we are also building bots to work with us. There are
Uh,
agentic AIs. So please help us understand how do you think AI would evolve? Sorry, HR would evolve in the few years.
Look, as rightly my co-panelist said that of course the business partnering role will be emerging, more focus on that. So I would add financial literacy that will adding value more to the HR, because everyone should understand number. That's how an organization grows. But
Right.
apart from that, I do believe that since you have Gen Z, Gen Alpha coming in the future, so approach will be more human centric in terms of working on the well-being of the people, how to help them handling the breakdowns, screen timings and all. So many time I discuss with my co-leaders. I tell them when they are dealing with the young people, I said just compare it with your children, whether they listen to you in a one go or not. So similarly, because they do have like a span of attention, or if you tell them multiple things,
Yeah.
they will say why are you saying this. So I do
Yes.
argue, because similarly way this coming generation will have this kind of culture, so you need to adjust accordingly. So HR has to be changed as per the the current generation is coming. So more human centric approach, setting up the protocols for using the technology, because we are talking about AI, but apart from the AI, metaverse and virtual reality, that will also coming into picture shortly. Because right now the cost is too high, but once organizations start implementing it, maybe we will be living in the meta world or virtual world. So where HR need to play, setting the protocols of using that, so that people can use it in a safely manner.
Very interesting. You brought in a human-centric approach would be something that and that HR would more also be involved in, and because we have to deal with different generation at the same time, and with different beliefs and different attention span. So thank you for your take on that. I think before wrapping up, I would like everyone to tell all our viewers that what advice would you give to someone, just one advice, who is trying to stay relevant in this ever changing world of work. So, constantly at each minute, we are changing, technologies changing. What advice would you give to someone to stay relevant, or anything that you would like to recommend?
I'll say a small recommendation. I think we've been talking. This might be offbeat. You might hear this an offbeat recommendation to everybody. No advices because your
Yeah.
experiment and something which might be applicable to one may not be applicable to another person. But what I feel is that it's very important for all of us
Right.
and to everybody who's there in the today in this call. Uh, be open for feedbacks.
Right.
I think none of us talk about it. We talk about giving feedback, right? Um, if someone is coming back and telling you that, why don't you do some things, say, for example, X thing, which is going to bring um, your expertise a bit higher, take it positively. So I think that is one thing that I would recommend to everyone, that it's difficult to take feedbacks. I'm not saying that take feedbacks from everybody and get into a self doubt situation. We should all be smart enough,
Yeah.
but feedback is very important from the perspective of growing in the industry, because
Hmm.
something you may not know, somebody else might be knowing. um,
Right.
some the way you are trying to deliver, maybe that might not be somebody else's expectation, right? So
Hmm.
I think that is one recommendation to everyone: please start taking feedbacks positively. Please start identifying the pointers for your learning from those feedbacks. It will give you a more better exposure towards growth path. You will know how to grow as a leader, for that matter. Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you, Anisha. Rashmi, what advice or recommendation or anything that you would like to say?
More on the same lines what Anisha said on feedback, but I would like to call it out as shift from mindset of improve yourself to a mindset of improve yourself.
Okay.
That's because when you go with prove yourself, you will always go with the fear of failure, being competent in the market, and also you always seek an external validation for proving yourself. But when you go with improve yourself, you always, you're open at work in terms of curiosity, growth, long term. You're always looking for a long term impact, and at the same time, you always embrace feedback from anybody in the organization, not just the manager, right? How do you take feedback and how do you work and improve yourself? So that's the reason I myself believe in, rather than going with prove yourself, I always go in a mindset of improve yourself. How can I improve myself in every day of my work? So I think that's the key.
Okay. All right. Rajesh.
Okay, so to be very concise again, continuous learning and open to feedback is my opinion. Everyone should adopt in the organization.
Okay. Ashutosh. Oh,
Uh, yeah. So I was just one thing is be focused whatever you do. So one thing is you should be focused on that. Second is seek clarity that you can seek by experimenting yourself as well. Taking others help. So there's no harm in taking guidance from other or mentorship from others. So do these
hmm.
things. There is proper you to align your vision properly.
All right. I think that's for the day today. And thank you all for this incredibly rich conversation. We've gone deep into hiring, mentorship, AI, belonging, and I can say that one thing is very very clear. The future of work is not just about tools; it's about trust, and it's not just about automation. It's also about aspirations, your adaptability. So I would say to all the attendees, thank you for joining. Keep investing in skills, in mentorship, and human first practices. We at Mentiguru are committed to driving that journey for individuals, institutions, and industries. Let's stay connected, stay curious, and stay future ready. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Neha.
Thank you.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks, everyone.
So we're back.